One, and we are recording. Hello, and I am here with Professor CC19. Finally, we get to talk to each other because we've been communicating online for a while. It's good to have you here.
It's great to be here. It's great to finally meet you and talk to someone in person. Kind of.
Exactly.
Kind of.
I mean, we do like the chats and we like watch each other's stuff and we'll chat each other through live chat. You do a lot of live streams, which I'm going to ask you about a little bit, but like that's yeah, that's how we've been communicating. Now we actually can do this, which is amazing.
It's great. There's no delay anymore.
No, it's not like a walkie-talkie anymore, you know? That's so cool. So basically, well, let me ask you first about your username, Professor CC19. So what's the CC stand for?
The CC is for Candy Crush, which is what my channel started out as, and I still have quite a bit of Candy Crush content, but other stuff has grown from that. But yeah, it's Candy Crush.
I'm a big Candy Crush player as well. And as you know, actually, I think you reached out to me and we did a little collaboration last December together.
Yeah, for the 15 Days of Christmas.
It was totally your idea and I loved it. It was the first collaboration I'd ever done on my channel. So thank you so much for that.
Well, yeah, it was the first one I've ever done as well. So that was very fun. It was the third year, I think, the third year for the 15 Days of Christmas. And yeah, the first time I've ever done it with someone else.
So we'll put links in the description for the audience. Oh, by the way, to the audience, if you wouldn't mind smashing like now, because there's something about the algorithm they just did where they're like, if they smash it in the first minute, like it helps. So go ahead and do that. And then I'll have a link to Professor CC19's site and you can subscribe to his channel. He's got some great stuff, especially if you're a gamer. Oh, by the way, I usually introduce my guests with 3 descriptions. You said college student, gamer, and trivia buff. So yeah. So what is it about Candy Crush though? Because I know for myself why I am so addicted to Candy Crush, but I'd love to hear somebody else explain because every once in a while I'll get like a comment. I'll be like, oh, my mom plays Candy Crush and Cheese, or my grandma plays. And it's like, nah, there's more to it, you know? But anyway, for me, but what do you think? Why is it you like Candy Crush so much?
Well, to be fair, you kind of just said it. I did start playing it from my grandmother. She used to live really close to me, and now she lives a good 700-800 miles away. So it is something that always reminds me of her and something that we used to do together all the time. She actually introduced me to the first game that I was really hooked on, which was Angry Birds, the original.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I was hooked on that big time.
I used to be a big player of that. I got 1 world record in that. It took me forever, and it has since been broken. But yeah, then Candy Crush. I actually think the first game was, what was it, Bejeweled? It was very similar to Candy Crush, but yeah, that's the first game I played on her phone. And then I started with the lower levels. And then one time that we ate together at a restaurant or something, she was in the 600s or something, and I beat a level that she couldn't. And that's the point where like, well, I like this game. It turns out I can actually play the higher levels. So yeah, I'm going to keep playing this game. And I played for about 400 levels. And then I lost all my progress in the most bizarre way possible. I have told this on my channel before.
So how did that happen?
There was a storm outside my house, and literally a bolt of lightning hit the house.
Oh my gosh.
And it woke me up, but I don't understand how I was not more scared at the time, because I woke up and I heard thunder and stuff, and literally my window, the curtain, the pull shade for my window was like glowing for how bright it was. And I guess I didn't really realize what it had done until the morning, but the computer that I played on was fried. And it kind of rebooted. I played like 2 levels that day, but by the evening, by the time we got like the pictures and all the important stuff off the computer, it was dead.
Yeah.
She's dead, Jim.
She's dead, Jim.
Yeah, that message.
Love that.
But yeah, I had to restart again from 0. But once I got a phone and the app and all the mini games, I've just taken off from there.
Gotcha. Do you remember when they had the nightmare, or not nightmare, but it was like the nighttime, the owl would like it was like an alternate reality basically.
Oh, what was that called? it was Otis the owl on Moonstruck.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
perched on the moon, and you couldn't collect too many of a certain color because it would tip the moon.
right.
Dream World.
Dream World, that's it. Yeah,
That
and
was hard.
it was. Those were like the literally nightmare levels for me. And Otis was spelled Odus for some reason instead of Otis. I just thought that was so neat.
Yeah, I always thought it was Otis because I'm used to the old character from Andy Griffith,
Exactly.
Otis the drunk.
Absolutely. Like lets himself in the jail cell and like lays down and locks himself up for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the first thing I think of, or I think of the elevators. But like I was talking
Oh, Otis, yeah.
skyscrapers the other day. We were talking on another video, which we'll link again. So like there'll be a whole bunch of links. So yeah, it's I actually got invited to a Candy Crush King event. And I went like a virtual event last Friday, I think it was. Like,
Oh, I saw the link. I saw that that advertised. I didn't really go to it though.
it was neat. You couldn't really, it was hard to participate because they had so many people show up. I guess it would have been hard. There was a chat feature, but it was really like meet the other people who were there. But basically they were just giving me like background information about like story ideas. And there's a lot of backstory that I was not aware of. They swore us to secrecy. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to post about it. But it was neat. They did ask us like for suggestions, and they had like surveys and things of that nature. So it was worth going to, I think. But I thought it was going to be a little more exclusive, like, and a little more interactive with like each other. And it was kind of, I guess, when you have like 1,000 people, like, you know, in a Zoom room, you can't have them all talking to each other. So that makes sense.
Oh yeah, to be honest, based on the changes that they make to the game like all the time, King doesn't seem like the most personable company. It seems like they do stuff for the masses and don't really listen to people's ideas that often, which is kind of disappointing because there's a lot of things that they could maybe do better with the game.
So they seemed in this forum, there were 3 people that were representing King. And like I said, they were all on the writing staff. And they seemed like they were really receptive. So maybe they got some of your feedback and they realized, you know, maybe we should reach out to the actual like people who are using this game. And they actually at one point asked how many levels have you done and where are you and that sort of thing. So there were some hardcore players in there. There's people out there that are way higher than I am. And
yeah,
you were talking about the lightning strike. At one point, I got to a point where there was a little road sign that said on the map, "Oh, the rest of it's under construction. You've gone as high as you can. Go back and play some other levels."
Yeah, and they come out with new levels every Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, they sure do.
I've never gotten to that point, but to put it in perspective, I first played Candy Crush when there were 1,555 levels.
Yeah, there were a lot of levels when I started too.
Like less than 2,000 is when I first played the game, and now there's over 9,000.
Yeah, it's amazing. I went through the same thing. I did it with my niece, and that's where it came from for me. It was a way for us to bond. And she would have trouble with the level, and I'd try to show her how to do it. And then it just was a thing, you know. And it just, you know, that's what my channel kind of started as too. And now it's grown into like this mishmash. I think I'd probably have more subscribers if I just stuck to one thing, but that's boring, right? So like I like I like playing all kinds of games. You do too.
Yeah, I think you have over 10,000 videos to date, I think it said.
Oh, it's just nuts. I post several a day. Yeah.
For all the clips,
Yeah. And you do speed runs. So you were doing a Wii Sports Speed Run yesterday. I was on for the last hour of that, but you were for 7.5 hours.
Oh yeah, technically, yeah. The run itself was a little under 7, but I had restarted right at the beginning. And Wii Sports Resort, all sports pro class, 6 hours, 50 minutes, 33 seconds. I'm not going to do that again for a long time because I was really hungry by the end of it.
You're gonna have to pack some power bars next time.
See, that's the thing. I had snacks there, and I had planned had my water there, but when you're doing it, there's no auto scroller games. Like there's other categories you can do with all stamps, which is all 19 games I played. Only there's another game called Island Flyover, which is one of the best games in the whole Wii Sports Resort. So I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to play that yesterday. But it's basically you're flying an airplane and you have to fly and explore all the different areas of the island. And there's 80 different locations that you can save to your flight record to play the game. But once you get to a certain point, you have a set 5 minutes per run. So if you find all of them before the end of a 5-minute cycle, you can take a break, go to the bathroom. I didn't have that auto scroller in my run. Every single sport required active play.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and you were active. I mean, you were avoiding banana peels and getting blown off cliffs and like that. You're like really good at those bike races.
oh yeah, cycling is my specialty. I've
Mhm.
been in that for the past 6 months, 6 months almost. Yeah.
So I have a Wii, but I don't have it hooked up. Are you playing this on a Wii or are you playing an emulator that's on the computer?
I'm playing it on an actual Wii because emulators are not allowed for submitting speedruns.
Okay.
Because apparently the load time is different. If you're on an emulator, it'll either load faster, or in my case, on my computer, the emulator is slow and does not load at all. But yeah, I had my Wii hooked up to my television, but then I moved it into another room hooked directly up to my computer so I can record it. It's a smaller screen, but it's in a position where the sensor bar works really good.
How cool is that? I didn't know that you could do that. So you can hook it right up to a PC.
Yeah, you need a little bit of equipment to do it, but it's pretty inexpensive. There's a double-ended HDMI cable. One end hooks up to your computer, and the other end hooks up to oh wait. Okay, so you need three things. You need a double-ended HDMI cable, a capture card, and a Wii to HDMI converter.
Okay.
I think between the three of them, it's about $20. So it's pretty inexpensive.
Really? The capture card's that cheap?
It was not a very expensive capture card. Actually, come to think of it, I think the capture card was maybe 14. The cable and the converter were they 6 or are they another 14? So maybe 20, $30.
That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I've always wondered about the capture cards and never actually used one. So you can do you have like a SD card that goes into the capture card you pull out, or is it?
No, one end is the USB plug, so it would plug into your computer in the same way you would plug a phone charging cable to put pictures on your computer.
I see.
But it also has an open opposite end where you can plug the HDMI cable in.
And do you record as you stream, or is it recorded and hold it in memory and then you download it?
It's actually both.
Okay.
I actually had to go through a whole process because I used to stream with Streamlabs OBS.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked for a long time, but my computer must have updated. And however the game was working, whenever I started to record, the game would be on a delay. So I would pedal, but I would not get the boost on the bike for a couple seconds afterwards, and it would completely ruin the times.
Yeah, that's got to be really hard to play.
So I couldn't figure it out. So by the time I actually did figure it out, I downloaded OBS instead of Streamlabs OBS. And that means I can now stream and record at the same time with no delay.
And OBS is pretty much the standard, right? That's what most people that do live streaming use, I think.
Yeah, I honestly didn't realize that until I got a whole bunch of comments saying, why did you ever use Streamlabs in the first place?
Yeah, I know. I still do video editing with free software. Like it's called
Same here.
Shot video. But it just does what I need it to do. And even though like I have a friend who gave, I have friends that use like Adobe, and Final Cut and that stuff. And there's just too many options. I can't figure it out. I know I need to sit down and do it, but like I always tell them, I said, I'm not a video editor. I'm a content creator, I need
exactly
to help me with that. And I'm learning a lot. I've been learning a lot just by doing these Zoom videos and whatnot. But I want to spend my time making the video, not
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I have had to learn a bit about editing though. Like I do use free stuff. I have a program called a Vidimux, which means I can attach separate files end to end. One called Shotcut, which means I can add in some graphics, and one called Audacity, where I can edit the audio so I can make my voice sound louder or I can cut out background noise. And that's really been the most helpful because I can do voiceover. I don't necessarily have to talk while I'm recording. I can talk at a different time and just add the audio in.
Yeah, I noticed when we were doing our collaboration, it was hard for me to talk over because sometimes I get to a level where I was really concentrating on trying to beat the level. And I was,
Mm,
and there's those two parts of the brain, my speech part and my you know, cognitive reasoning part were just they were trying to use the same part of my brain, maybe. I don't know, but I couldn't divide myself and do that at the same time. If it's something that I'm like used to doing and it's not a difficult task, no problem. But yeah, and I like to do things if I can in one shot, but going back over using Audacity, that's something that I need to learn how to do as well.
it's actually not that complicated. It's more so about knowing where the files go. So to go into Audacity, you need to import just the audio and then change it to whatever you want it to be, louder or softer. And then you have to export it with export it as an MP3 file. MP3 is audio, MP4 I think is visual.
I agree. I think you're right.
Yeah, so you export it as an MP3 and then you can add it on to the actual video with whatever other program you use.
Cool. Well, it sounds like technically you're ahead of me as far as like learning that kind of stuff, but I'm learning. But it's nice to have resources and it's nice to have a forum where we can talk about this stuff too.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you might know something that and then I might be able to say, oh yeah, if all you want to do is put these two videos together, just use this real small program and and it's super easy and you're done, as opposed to like loading this giant program takes up all your memory and and then you have these huge file sizes when it tries to export it and all that kind of neat
Yeah.
stuff.
That would be Avidemux, Avidemux. It's probably the easiest thing I have to put two files end to end together. It's really easy. You just click open and then append.
And sometimes that's all you need to do. So I wanted to ask you, since you're such a gamer, I mean, obviously designing games and playing games are completely different things, but if you could design a game, like what is it? What is there a certain genre of games that you like? What kind of game would you put together? Like, are you an action guy? Are you an RPG guy? Are you like an arcade kind of guy mostly? Or what do you think?
So that's kind of difficult because I like a lot of different things. But there is a series on YouTube that I've watched several times. It's one of the all-time classic games from the 90s called Earthbound, one of the original Nintendo games. I watched it like a 50 video series playing the whole game, and it is technically a role-playing game. You're playing the classic character of Ness and his three friends, but it's also a puzzle game because you have to figure out all the different places to go, and it's also a fighting game because you have to battle enemies and strategy. It's just like the combination of all these different amazing things. And there was supposed to be a sequel, but there never was. Unfortunately, I can't play the game myself because it's relatively rare and also quite expensive.
Oh,
But yeah, I've always loved that game ever since I've seen it. I'd love there to be another game, or if I would design a game, I would design maybe the sequel that was supposed to be for that game and add in maybe a few other elements. I love the colors and like the puzzle aspect of Candy Crush. Maybe a little more of that.
mm-hmm.
And I also like racing games, but I'm not really sure how you would incorporate racing into a game similar to Earthbound. That would probably be the one thing missing. But yeah, really, Earthbound, the original from way back in the 90s, had almost everything perfect that I would want in a game. And just like the whole world of it, you
Yeah,
would get enveloped with the world and the characters, just something really that you could feel like that.
cool. Yeah, I love role playing games. I'm a big Fallout fan, and mostly not because of the content as much as there's just so many options. It's the choices, I think.
Yeah.
So Fallout New Vegas, even though it's like 11 years old, I still like will play that because I haven't investigated every single option yet. It's just
Exactly. All the places that you can go in Earthbound, like to this day, there's still new things being found out, like obscure characters that have no part of the actual story that you would go aside and talk to at one time, and they will say one thing, and then you complete some story progress, and you go back to the same character and they'll say something else, and it's just funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great writing, and that's great scripting, and that's what my background's writing. So I admire and appreciate the attention to detail when people put those little kernels of things in there. There was a game in the 90s that came out based on the movie Blade Runner that was a completely replayable game. And every time you went through, any decision you made would affect everything. So you could have all these different alternate endings. And it was, that was really fun to try to like go back and see if you could save the replicants, or this time you turn them in, or this time you try to save this one replicant and maybe the other ones, and it was a really neat, the replayability element of it, I thought.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. Like, it's almost like what they tried to do, I guess, in the game of life as a board game. Like, there's all these different options and different possibilities of what can happen to you along the way, but they failed at the ending because you always either end up in one of two places. Was it like the mansion, or the plot of land, or something like that? Like,
it was the poor house, or millionaire estates, or tycoon estates, or something like that.
Something like that. But like, you have all these possibilities, but only two endings.
Yeah, you can't be middle class like most people end up being, in real life.
I am glad that they got rid of the suicide square, because that actually was a thing that was on Jeopardy. There used to be a suicide square in the game of life. They took it out at some point. I forget what year it was.
I never heard that. That's crazy. I must have had a version that didn't have it. I must have or something. That's wild.
It must have been one of the original versions.
Speaking of Jeopardy, you tried out for Jeopardy.
Yes, I did. I took the online test for the college championship. I think it was last year. Was it last? No, it must have been really late 2019. No, it was January 2020, because they used to be really early in the year before they started being anytime.
Right. I remember taking it in January, but it wasn't the college one. It was just for like the regular Jeopardy. I'm pretty sure it was January when I took it.
Yeah, I would say they're pretty similar, because you can actually see the answers like the day after you take the test. Someone posts the answers on a certain website.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, I think there used to be like 3 tests, like one Monday, one Wednesday, one Friday you could take for the college.
Yeah, they did that as well with the regular one. It was like certain times in certain time zones.
Oh.
We're in like the Eastern time zone. Yours was like Tuesday at 8 o'clock, or something of that nature. But yeah, when I was taking them, there were 50 questions, and I just kind of mentally kept track of the ones I couldn't get. So I was like, well, I know for a fact I missed 5, and I wasn't sure about 3 of them. So I figure I got at least 43 out of 50 right.
Well, you did pretty good if that's true.
Well, so I actually advanced to the second round one year. So,
really?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was wild. So they told us at the second round that you had to get at least 35 out of 50 right to even make the cut. So they had it at the convention center in Pittsburgh. Went down to the convention center for the callback, and you had to do another written test this time with 50 questions, and you had to get those at least 35 right on that. And they didn't grade them there, so you didn't know. And you had to write legibly too, which is a thing. So like I had to make sure I was like being calm and writing legibly. Then they walked you through just a simulation, like just to see if you could follow direction and press your plunger at the right time and that sort of thing. And
yeah, because you're like playing the Wii version of Jeopardy is not like the real version, because you have to wait until he's done with the question on the real show before you can ring in, or else it kicks you out for half a second.
Yeah, so I got a book that was written by somebody who went on Jeopardy and won a couple times, and they talked about that. And
was it The Art of the Buzzer?
It was not. It was How to Get on Jeopardy and Win. And I have the book, actually. I don't remember who the author was. It wasn't anybody that you would, it wasn't like Brad or like, Ken or one of the big guys. But it was from a little bit further back. In fact, it was from far enough back that he recommended that you tape the shows on a VCR. Said when you have your remote, in order to get the timing down, you press the pause button. Alex speaks. You wait like 1, 2, 3, press the button, and you should see the first indicator light on someone's podium light up. And
Yeah.
and then of course they changed the podium, so that technique didn't work anymore. But
Well, I think they have it around the game board, like a row of lights around the entire game board. But there actually is still lights on the contestants' podium, but that's just to let the person know who has the control of the board, who gets to pick next.
right, exactly. Yeah, so we did that, and then they said, well, you've made it to the contestants pool, and we'll call you if you'll be in the contestants pool for, I think it was either 12 or 18 months. And we started watching the show. We always watched it where I worked almost every day. And
yeah, same here.
Calling people from Western Pennsylvania, and I could tell like they had already taped these shows and I wasn't going to get on. So it was a shame, but it was exciting. It was neat to like be there. But I met one guy, he said he had been called back 7 times and still
Really?
show 7 times.
So technically speaking, some of even the all-time greats have been have tried out multiple times. Like even Jeopardy James said that he had tried out, I think, 9 times before he got on the show.
Wow, how about that? Yeah, so you got to be dedicated, and they only do it once a year.
But now you can take it anytime, but I think you can only take it once every so often. See, I haven't actually looked into the anytime test, and I really should.
Yeah, you should. Absolutely.
I'm not sure what they're going to do with the college championship, though, because ever since they changed the executive producers last year and made it Mike Richards, they said they had like a teaser clip. Was it a teaser clip or just like an announcement that they were going to do a team version of the college championship? And I don't get how that would work.
I don't like that.
Because every year there's one person who wins the college championship and that goes to the tournament of champions. But how would that work if it was a group of 3 people?
I don't know. I know that there's a local quiz show on like
WVIA.
What's that?
What is it on WVIA?
It's on PXI, I think. And yeah, and it's like high school students, and there's 3 of them on each team. And after each question, they confer, and then one of them is like the spokesperson. They give the answer, but it slows down the game. It really makes it hard for an audience to watch.
Yeah, like the way Jeopardy did it for a team of 3 is they had one person play the first round, one person play the double Jeopardy, and then one person play the final.
Oh, like a relay race.
Yeah, but no one liked it. Like everyone was so confused by the format that they didn't like the particular tournament. Speaking of tournaments. Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, my fault, please.
I was going to say the tournament champion's coming up next week, so really excited about that.
That's cool. Yeah, I think the thing is when you're watching TV, you're rooting for somebody, whether you know it or not. You're subconsciously even maybe going like, I identify with this person. They know the same categories as I do, or
yeah,
really impressed with this person because they know the stuff I don't know. And you just naturally start to like root for somebody. And that element gets taken away if you have a team. It's harder for you to do that. And one of the things they emphasized at the tryouts was, look, we know you're smart. This isn't an intelligence test. You guys are all smart or you wouldn't be here. This is television. So don't upstage Alex. We're trying to make a show here. This isn't to prove who the most, there are a lot of people that were there that were using it as a way to prove who the most intelligent person was. But they're like, no, you guys are all intelligent, and like you said, a lot of it has to do with timing. It has to do with the buzzer. You can be really smart and just not have your timing down. And then, you're locked out. So.
Yeah, and nerves too, because I'd imagine it'd be very stressful being up on stage. Like, this is something I've looked forward to my entire life.
Don't blow it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've seen, like I've seen people in the past couple of years. Like one lady was particularly nervous, and you had to really feel bad for her because you could see in her face that like, oh, I knew that one, but I waited too long, or oh, why did I say that? And it was just kind of sad because she finished really poorly, but she was still a really smart person, but just not everybody got that impression.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because after you get into your late 40s, apparently, you start to slow down. Like that connection between like the brain and the ability to recall that data just naturally becomes a little bit slower. So you only have so many seconds to respond to each of these questions. And when
Yeah.
you test live, they only give you 7 seconds to write down your answer. So
Only 7, really?
yeah, it's really intense.
I thought, well, for the college test, it was 15 seconds for each
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. When you were in person, it was 7 seconds. It was like, wow.
Well, I guess, well, that would be accurate to the show because you only have like 5 seconds to ring in, and if you ring in, you only have another 5 seconds. So
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
I
But
even I think Brad talked about that in the greatest of all time because he missed so many of the daily doubles. He had made a point to say during one of the last interviews with Alex, he's saying, I'm getting older and it's not as easy as it used to be when I was up here.
yeah, you know the answer, you just can't get it out. You know, it's like blah, 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 and then it's like George
Yeah.
Washington. Yeah, so yeah, it's just there. But speaking of Final Jeopardy, you were talking about how they were doing it stages. Did you ever try to guess the answer to Final Jeopardy before you got the clue, like just based on the category?
Um, I don't think I do it that way because I usually get the clue in the morning. You can get the clue in advance. It's always the clue of the day in the New York Times.
Oh, okay.
And you can also get it on a website that puts the Jeopardy results out in advance and the question out at 9 o'clock every morning.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't think I try to guess the answer just based on the category.
So
Although
we
if you
used to
watch
do it at work, and we used to call it priors because you get the answer prior to actually, and we like got it right a couple times,
really,
like uncannily. Well, some of them would be easy. Like one of the ones that I remember getting right was the category was the United Nations. So then they go to commercial, right? And I'm like, well, Thant, because that's an interesting name, and there's only been like a finite number of secretary generals of the United Nations, right?
oh, okay.
And then they're like, well, who was the secretary general during the Cuban Missile Crisis? And that just happened to be the answer, right?
Well, that's pretty good.
That's good. But my buddy got nature. The category was nature. And it's like, I mean, nature is huge, right? And for some
Yeah.
reason, he had been watching a documentary about the monarch butterfly. Guess that. And that ended up being the answer to the clue in Final Jeopardy that day. I'm still in awe of it.
It might get a little noisy here for a sec. My
Okay.
furnace is coming on.
Oh, that's okay. I can't. I don't think the mics pick up that. It's not that bad because
Okay.
I've heard barking dogs before, but that's about it.
Okay.
So
Well, that's good.
yeah, we're in good shape that way.
But yeah, Final Jeopardy is really interesting. I noticed that they start reusing a lot of the same answers. Like if you watch it long
Really?
enough, I've watched it solidly for at least 5 years. But Hercule Poirot comes up a lot. Lebanon, if they ever say cedars, you know they're talking about the country of Lebanon.
Sure.
What else comes up a lot?
Alice Walker,
Ayn Rand,
Ayn Rand, yes.
and the one artist. Who was the one artist? The one who did it. The one who did American Gothic. Grant Wood.
Yeah. Yeah. And Canadian provinces. You have to
Oh
know.
yeah, I just learned the Canadian provinces the other day. I used to
Yeah.
be terrible at them. I just learned them.
Yeah, if you go on Jeopardy, you got to know well, maybe not now because Alex isn't there, but you had to know a lot about Canada because there's
Yeah, he was always upset when the people didn't know the Canadian province.
and there was always going to be French. You had to know some French, and because he loved like pulling out his like French accent, and yeah, it was interesting. It was fun.
Who do you think the new host might be?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I was in such awe when they picked Drew Carey for The Price is Right. So ever since then, I don't even try to guess because I just, well, number one, I use YouTube for my entertainment. So like, I really don't know a lot of pop culture.
Oh yeah, same here. Same here. I'm bad with pop culture.
Like last night, I was streaming the Saturday Night Live because of Elon and the Dogecoin thing. And thanks for joining in, by the way. That was kind of, it was lackluster, but I thought there was going to be more movement in the price. I thought it would be more interesting, but I'm looking at the cast and they're going through the cast at the beginning and I only knew one actor. And it was like, wow, I really haven't watched this in a long time.
Yeah, the only person I knew there there was Keenan because Keenan's been
Yeah,
on there for so long.
Keenan
Have you
Thompson.
watched it? Have you watched that show, Keenan, the sitcom?
No,
I've only seen clips of it, but it seems pretty funny.
I've always found him hilarious. I just think he's a great ironic actor, and he's really good at. He has great facial expressions.
Oh yeah,
What I
like him with what's Taron Killam. Taron Killam was really funny too.
Terry Gilliam,
Taron Killam.
Taron Killam. I don't know who that is.
He was on there. I don't think he's still on there, but he was on there for a good, I think, 10 years.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the old stand-up comics. So on Carson, for
Oh yeah.
about 10 years ago, they started showing Johnny Carson whenever he would have like Ellen DeGeneres' first stand-up routine on Carson, or Jerry Seinfeld or Stephen Wright. And it's like, wow, these people were young. And boy, and some of them were good and some of them weren't. Jay Leno's set did not go over that great, you know? And then he ends
Well,
up being the host.
yeah, surprisingly enough. Like
Yeah.
I watched Johnny Carson because there's a TV channel that plays some of the old Carson episodes in the evening, and makes me feel old. But but yeah, my mother loves it. But it was the episode where they brought back 4 different people who were bumped previously. So like they ran too long and didn't have enough time for him. And there was 3 comedians and 1 sportscaster, and just all 3 of them were hilarious. Like all 3 of their acts were amazing, got great reactions, and they barely had enough time for the sports guy at the very end. He almost got bumped from the bump show.
I mean, that's awesome that they got a chance. I'm sure that they were really boned up though. They were probably like, this is my chance. I'm just gonna nail it, you know?
Yeah, they were all really good.
That's fantastic. Awesome. Well, I have a big question for you.
Okay.
Cake or pie? Are you a cake guy or a pie guy?
Oh yeah. Usually pie. Usually
Why,
pie.
why is that?
Because I think I like having pie with ice cream, and I also like having the little mini pies. Like in a grocery store near me, you can get 5 for $2.50. So you can get
Wow.
5 of these little 2-inch pies, and they have chocolatey Claire pies, which is the chocolate drizzle on the top with
Ooh,
cream filling.
that sounds great.
Yeah, they're so good. And apple and strawberry. But recently, I've also found a really, really good cake. It's called earthquake cake or
Hmm.
dump cake.
Yeah.
It's like cream cheese and chocolate cake with chocolate chips and coconut on the bottom. And it's just really good, especially the cream cheese part.
That does sound good. Very good. All right. Good answer. Well, I think that's all I've got. Is there anything else you want to talk about today, Professor?
Let's see here. What did I write down? Did I write down anything? No, I did not. I need to write stuff down. I always forget to write stuff down.
There's no reason we can't do this again. This was an absolute pleasure. I am so glad that we got to speak to each other.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to stop the video, and all right, everybody, smash like for us, and I'm going to put the description down below. You're definitely going to want to check out Professor CC19's channel. He's amazing. Just passed 1,000 subscribers. Maybe we can get 2. Let's get him to 2. Let's get him monetized. And
I have to read a lot of information before that happens. I have to read all the fine print.
Oh, it's really not that big a deal. In fact, they help you. YouTube, one of the great things about YouTube is they help you on every step of the way, it seems like. I mean, that's the big first hurdle that I found. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, here, we'll help you. We'll help you monetize all your videos and this, that, and the other. And, you know, and it's like, wow, thank you. You know, I thought I was going to have to go through all 5,000 of those and go, you know, but
yeah,
yeah, they automate the process for you. And it seems like there's a really great community. And I found people be really supportive. I mean, of course, on the internet, you'll have people that are, you know, a little snarky or whatnot. But I found that like other creators and the actual like YouTube, like people platform, although I've never really had to have a lot of contact with them, have been super, super helpful. So.
Yeah, that's true. Like the better you treat people, the better you interact with people, the more helpful I guess they are.
Well, that's true. I mean, our channels are pretty wholesome, so I don't think.
Yeah, let's keep it that way. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff today. Like even some of the stuff that I enjoy is kind of.
Well, the other day, my friend was talking to me about Rick and Morty, and I'm like, it's such an intelligent show. I wish they didn't swear all the time.
I've never watched that. I've never watched that. I don't think
It's fun, but it's a little, for me, it's a little too, it goes too far. And I know that's the point. The point is they're stretching the boundary of, the humor, but I can laugh without having to be grossed out or offended or,
yeah.
I mean, like, I don't need all that.
Like you don't have to take it past the point where I'm comfortable.
I just want to have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a statement, so.
Yeah, wish that would be more common today. People like even with Jeopardy, like people watching the show to enjoy knowledge and trivia, not arguing over, well, I don't like this guest host because he's on CNN, or I like this guest host because he's from a certain sports team. Like I cannot agree with what you have to say, but I still respect you and I still like you as guest host.
Well, that's a very adult, attitude. And I think that's one of the reasons we got along so well when we collaborated too, is we were pretty chill, like you do your thing, you do my thing. And that's the thing. The differences make it more strong,
Yeah, like even like Gears, no, Gears is not the right example. Like pieces of the puzzle, every piece of the puzzle is different, but that's the only way they're supposed to fit together.
Wow. So that's the perfect outro. I can't even think of a better way to say it. Thank you, Professor. We'll do this again soon, and I'm going to stop the recording. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, and everybody out there, see if you can do something nice for somebody today and not get caught.